So one of the things I saw when I was getting ready to do this interview with you and everything is that you review cowboy boots on your
Yes.
YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
So how did you get started in that? Like obviously, like I said before, because my thing is sneakers, so I could see how you could do that. Like I get the concept of that, but how'd you get started with reviewing cowboy boots and like what's some of the cool stuff that you've like? Have you gotten free boots from people to review, or how's that go?
Yeah, totally. It all started because I was touring with my music and I couldn't make any money on the road. It was
Mm,
impossible. So I was making profits, like every tour was profiting, but it wasn't enough money to be sustainable. So I went back to work and I was a marketer. I went to school for marketing. So I worked at agencies and I would put together content marketing plans. And
mm,
eventually I started putting together really cheap marketing plans for the agency that I worked at, but they didn't want to use them. So I started testing it out on myself by using my interest in cowboy boots to make videos and then put my music at the end of them so that people knew that I did music. And it was just sort of a test because, I really like cowboy boots. I've been wearing them since uh, at the end of high school. So it's been like 15 years or so. So it's just sort of a passion and a hobby. Like I really like, I didn't ever think that anybody would care what I decided to wear on my feet, but that's not true. People are really passionate, just like people are passionate about watches and sneakers. So, I mean, people
mhm.
really started to dig the content that I was making for YouTube. And now, yeah, I get sponsors and companies send me boots to feature on my channel. And I put together little concerts on my YouTube channel where I will talk about cowboy boots, play a song, then do like a live video, and then play more songs. And then actually, I'll make agreements with these companies so that I can give away a pair of cowboy boots to the viewers. So it's been really fun because I'm trying to come up, but I'm also trying to bring the people who listen to me up too by giving away boots. Like it's just an awesome experience. It's been so much fun. The people that I've met through doing it is incredible. Like I've never imagined that I would be at this point where I can make new friends pretty much every day that I've never met across the world in Scotland or Turkey, just random people around the world who are interested in cowboy boots. It's been a blast, and I'm so happy that people are you know uh, coming along for the ride and enjoying the music too at the same time.
I think that's awesome that you were able to combine two of your passions like that too. With your passion for cowboy boots, which is just something you were generally interested in, weren't necessarily trying to make that a money making endeavor. You just liked them for yourself, and then your music, which again is another one of your passions. Bringing those two together, I think, is very it creates that synergy, you know what I mean? That like really comes through as authentic and it's a good way to lead people into your music because you're now further honing in on who your audience is and everything, right? So I think that's awesome because I imagine through that, when you get a fan, you get a fan. This isn't like a fair weather thing or whatever. People like really can connect with you overall as a total individual instead of just an artist because of these various different interests that you share with them. And then if I get a free pair of boots out of it as well, like, yeah, I love this guy forever. And so maybe that's who's going to be part of the revenge story that I was talking about before that I have to fight. But I think that's a really unique way to build a content marketing strategy. But I also think it's awesome that how many people out there can get what they need from places like YouTube and stuff like that. Like there's a community for this, right? For people who are into boots and people who like the folk music and stuff like that, and then have seen them intertwine in a place like YouTube. That's why for all the bad things that the internet has brought us, those type of things make it feel more worth it to me.
Oh, yeah. I agree 100%. It's a really special thing that I love. And even if somebody doesn't want to, get down with my music, I'm totally fine with that. Like Before I started doing cowboy boot videos, my music videos that I would post, like I would post vlogs or music videos or whatever, just because it was the thing that you were supposed to do. And they
Mhm.
sometimes they would get like 50 views at the most. Most of the times it'd be like 25. And now I'll get like 20,000 views with a cowboy boot video, and those same sort of music videos that I used to do are getting like 200, 300, 400, 500 views. So that right there is hundreds more people listening to my music just because I'm making a cowboy boot video. But of course, not everybody's going to come through. And I don't want everybody to come through. I just want to help people who want the help if they're, or to be entertained by the cowboy boot stuff. And if they want to listen to the music, they can do that too. Like I just want to be a resource for people.
So I want to say something and see if it resonates with you as somebody who has a marketing background. I think one of the things that gets lost in both marketing and sales is the authenticity of what you're doing. Because I can create a marketing strategy for whatever product, whatever service, whatever music, that I'm trying to put together. But if it doesn't resonate with people, it doesn't matter. And so what you're talking about there is, yeah, I'm doing these cowboy boot videos, one, because I like them, but also as a way to lead people into my music. But if they don't like my music, it doesn't actually matter. You know what I mean? So it's fine that this is how I bring them in, because you still have to connect with me as a real artist for it to make sense. And I think a lot of times that gets lost for people when they think about marketing. It's, oh, it's just marketing and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, yeah, marketing only is effective if it's good. You know, why do I remember the Geico commercials? Because they're good. Am I going to pick my insurance because you have a good commercial? No. But when I go to search for insurance, you're now in the running, and that's all they care about. And that's what you're trying to do too with your music. It's like, now you've got people here, and like, while you're here, maybe check out my music. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but at least you're now aware of it.
Yeah. And that's a great point, because if somebody wasn't ever interested in checking out my music at the end of the video, right? I got the scroll, it says at the end of the video I'm playing a song that I just made up about what happened in the video, and there's a little thing at the bottom that says follow me on Spotify. They might not do it right then, but maybe next week on Tuesday they're like, oh man, I don't really feel like listening to the same old stuff that I do. Oh, what about Jeremiah Craig? Let me see. He's got a new album out. Let's see what happens. And I hope that it puts me in that position for some people. But I'm also not out here trying to fool anybody. Like, I'm not trying to keep it a secret that that's what I'm trying to do, because people can't be fooled. I'm not trying to pretend like everybody's dumb, right? People aren't cattle. It's not going to be like if I open the gate and then stand behind you that you're going to go through it. That's not the way it is. So I make it very clear to people that, if you're into cowboy boots, that's great. Like, I'm here, I'm making content. If you're into folk music, that's cool too. And if I brought value to you with this cowboy boot video, then it would mean everything if you listen to my new album. And I'm very upfront with everybody, because I don't want to feel like they're being taken advantage of. It's really, really important to me to make people feel comfortable around what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make anybody. Not trying to manipulate them. Basically, I just want them to do what they want. I want to help them, and if they want to listen to my music at the same time, that is awesome.
So let's put that power to the test, right? Your what I'm going to call your boot Nostradamus power. For somebody like me who's worn combat boots, but I've never worn cowboy boots, what's a good boot for me to start with? What would you recommend for somebody like me?
It depends on what your budget is.
Let's say I don't know how much cowboy boots cost, so I feel like I want to throw out a number. And you're like, that's way too high, way too low.
No, there
Like,
is
I don't know
no
what to say.
There is no too high. You could say $50. You could say 10,000, and I could have an answer for you.
So let's go what I feel like is a relatively standard number for shoes, like sneakers at least and stuff like that. Let's say $100. $100. What kind
$100.
of what kind of boot you shooting me for?
$100. I'm gonna say that you should get a used boot on eBay, but slightly used, because the good boots are around like $200 to $300 usually. And
Mm.
that's because they can be resold. Like, I have my first cowboy boot right now, and it's 15 years old and it's been resold 6 times. So just think about the return on investment on that if it was $200, right? So that's an awesome return on investment. And plus, it's the most comfortable thing that I have because it's actually formed to my foot over those 15 years. So if you're going to get a boot for $100, your best bet is to go to eBay and find something that's only slightly used, that is still practically brand new, and purchase there. You could probably even get an exotic leather cowboy boot, whether that's snakeskin or ostrich or maybe even a lizard boot, like an exotic used, slightly used boot from eBay for $100 and still have some left over for some leather conditioner and stuff. That's what I'm going to say is a good option for you.
So is there like a brand or a style or something like that? Do you think for people, again, for people who haven't worn cowboy boots before, is there like something that you would recommend? Because I know with certain types of sneakers and stuff like that, like if I was telling somebody to get sneakers, I wouldn't tell them a certain type because they can be very uncomfortable for the average person who hasn't like broken
Right.
their feet into that type of sneaker or something like that, right? Which sounds weird because sneakers are built off of comfort. But so like for cowboy boots, is there a brand or like a I don't want to say cut, obviously, but like a style or something like that you would recommend for the new boot wear?
A new boot wear, I guess it depends on what you're coming from. If you're coming from a sneaker world, you
Mm,
might want to try Ariat because they were created by someone who used to work at Reebok. Beth
mm.
Cross used to work at Reebok, and she came to them and said, "Hey, I'm into cowboy boots. What happens if we combine sneakers and cowboy boots together and make this hybrid sort of thing, and make it an athletic cowboy boot?" It's got the insole in it. It's got, some lightweight athletic capabilities to it. Reebok said no, so she left and started the Cowboy Boot Company, and now it's the biggest one in the world. And they make very athletic cowboy boots that have insoles. I'm wearing a pair right now. In fact, a video just went up. They're my biggest sponsor too.
Mhm.
Um, as a sort of a, I guess, to just let everybody know. But if you're into sneakers, like that's probably the easiest crossover to start with. Personally, I like the traditionally made cowboy boot, which is all leather and it has a hard leather insole. So when you step into it, it's just hard. It feels hard, like it's nice and silky smooth. But a lot of people say, "Oh, it feels like you're standing on cement or whatever." It kind of does to the new wearer, but once you wear those boots around, that leather actually starts to form to your foot, and there's no feeling like it after that. So it's an incredible feeling, and it lasts the longest. Ariat doesn't last very long. It's not going to last decades like some of these other boots. So a vintage Tony Lama for $100 on eBay, you could get that slightly used. You could get a vintage Justin, and you could get maybe a Larry Mahan who aren't making boots anymore. So you find those boots on eBay, and they're a little bit cheaper than some of the well-known brands. So those boots you can actually get for under $100, slightly used on eBay, and then have them for decades. Get them resold over and over and over again once that leather outsole runs through, or the rubber one, or whatever you happen to get. And then you have this boot that's formed to your foot and 20 years old. Like there's stories of people who hand down their boots to their grandchildren and they're still wearing them 10 years later because there's such a memory. Like these things are heirlooms. I got a pair of my godfather's boots. They don't fit me, but it's still considered an heirloom just because he wore them every single day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really really cool. I didn't realize that they could last that long. Which that's awesome. It's funny that you mentioned. I think you said it was Ariat is the brand.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ariat, it sounds like something similar happened with another very popular sneaker that got Converse makes Chucks, right? Chucks are very, very
Mhm.
famous shoes. Most people know them and everything like that. They are not comfortable. or I should say were not comfortable. The Chuck ones, as they're called now, they're not comfortable shoes. They're like canvas and like just this hard bottom, and nobody. And
Yep.
unlike cowboy boots, they don't form to your foot, and they're not going to last forever. You know what I mean? So I don't know how many people know this, but Nike bought Converse a while ago. I don't know when it happened or whatever, but they've owned Converse for quite some time now. And so what they did is like, hey, why don't we redo the Chuck and make it with like the inside of a Nike running shoe? And so now they had the Chuck twos. Now you get the Chuck look, you get all the same stuff, whatever, and it doesn't kill your feet. Your feet aren't blistering up after you take like 3 steps and everything like that. So I think you see that with a lot of things where you have a legacy and then they revamp the legacy as long as they don't touch the historic portion of it. It's kind of like some New York houses or something like that, or even Boston, where on the outside it looks like you're in the 17th century. Then you go inside and you're like, oh, stainless steel appliances and like all that type of stuff or whatever, right? So you get to redo the interior. But
You
I
still
think
have
that's
your
awesome.
haters though,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
right?
there's
You
always going to
still
be
have the
those.
crew of Converse
Yeah.
One who's like, Converse One was the way like they shouldn't have changed it, right? And that's the same thing with Ariat. There's the old timers or the people who are really into traditionally made boots who say Ariat's junk. Like, why do they need to do that? But you know, there's got to be something for everybody, right? Everybody's not going to like that old Converse One. Sometimes they just want a comfortable shoe, or sometimes they want to have an insole in their boot, and that's okay.
Look, I get it with cowboy boots. Cowboy boots make sense to me, but if somebody is fighting for Chuck ones over the Chuck twos, which are the exact same shoe with a more comfortable interior, that I don't know, man. You just don't. You're a sadist. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you don't want your feet to be comfortable. They look the same. They're the same shoe. They didn't redo the outside. They just redid the inside. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't want to get flamed by like you said, the loyal Chuck One people who are out there like I like my feet to bleed. I'm like, all right, cool. Do whatever you need
Right?
to
It
do.
doesn't matter what you do, you'll get hate from somebody. Trust
I
me.
invite that. I invite that. I need to up my hater quotient for this year. I've been behind. I've been too friendly. I got to start busting more balls, and my ascot and sipping brandy. But
There you
so
go.
thanks for checking out Starting Nowhere. Come find us on Facebook so you can comment on this and other clips and episodes of Starting Nowhere.